Hey guys, Gameboy 3800 once again, and I'm here with my system for what I believe should be the last video. There we go. Before I had an issue where because both CPU power connectors were not plugged in, this takes our 8-pin and a 4-pin CPU connector, it didn't run at full speed, only 800 megahertz, even though it was overclocked to 4.5 gigahertz. By the way, I should turn off the overclock after this restarts. However, because it was running that slow, one, it took forever to boot up, like 3 minutes, and two, I wasn't able to run Intel burn test. Someone wanted me to run that, and I just couldn't get it to happen. So I ordered an EVGA Supernova NEX 750B power supply. It's a semi-modular power supply, much like this here thermal take, a smart M750. This along with the EVGA were both 80 plus brawn, so that's good. The only problem is that this only has one 8-pin CPU power connector, and there's no option for a second one. This one does. It's got one hardwired to the power supply, and another one as CPU 2 as an optional one. So I plugged that up, and it seems like we're in business. Although it's still slow. I wonder why. There's nothing on the hard drive. I took out the SSD because that was my SSD. And I seem to have solved the resolution thing where it always never showed the right resolution. The answer, get an AMD video card. Not sure why. Yeah, right now it's running an AMD R9 290 by Asus, and it has their DirectCU2 cooler on it. And we're still waiting for this to boot up. It must be either still running at 2 megahertz, or I need to defragment the hard drive again. Even though there's like nothing on it, really. Hello. I should have an Intel burn test on here somewhere. Issues, GPU tweak, printer stuff. I know I have it downloaded. Downloads. I don't believe I have any extensions installed on this. Here's Intel burn test. I don't know why it took that long. Issues GPU tweak, very easy overclocker for AMD cards. And I believe NVIDIA too. Nah, this is only for the DirectCU2 series. So I guess if you had a 780 with the DirectCU2 on here, it could work. However, it's going to be minimized sometime in the future. Or just not respond. CPU Z, what are the clock speeds like? Not temperature, but usage readings are unusually high, which means it's running at like 1/8 speed still. And no, it's not the power settings. It's in high performance, as you can see there. And yep, we're only running at 800 megahertz. And no, it's not because it's idling. Even in full power idle, it would show like 4 gigahertz as the base speed. Change power settings. Reset default plans. Because I modified one thing. And it's not changing anything over here. It's still showing 800. Power button and lid. What is this, thinking it's a laptop? Minimum cooling state. It was at 100 before, but I put it to 0 so that, you know, it would be a little bit more power efficient. It's not really a case with the overclock processor, but and then maximum is 100 as it should be. And cooling policy active. Cooling policy passive is all fans off, and it's only cooled by the ambient temperatures, which I'm sure you knew that, but whatever. And display, not important. But still, only 800 megahertz, and it's still not doing anything. Everything is good to go, except, like, this is running with 800 megahertz, and I'm surprised I was able to do 7.8. I'm gonna restart, go into BIOS, and see if there's something switched there that I'm not seeing. Dogs are barking. I don't get it. When I had it with the Thermaltake power supply, the M750 Smart power supply, it would run at full speed. It would run at 4.4, 4.5 overclock gigahertz. And then I throw it into this case. When I had the EVGA Supernova 1300 watt power supply, it would run at 5 gigahertz. Or even over. I got it to 5.2 one time. Unstable, but I got it there. And it's not a dead CPU. And right now I had a forced 4.5 gigahertz overclock that was doing nothing, so I'm back to auto with you. And right now it's running at only 800 megahertz. I don't know why and I don't know how. Memory 2666. It should be higher. There we go. I don't know why it was at 1866. Enhanced performance. Memory boot mode. Voltage. Will this help anything? Extreme performance. CPU voltage control. 1.1. As you can see, everything here is auto. That's where it was, that's where I will leave it. I took off the forced overclock. And I hate this display setting. I don't want to do the base clock upgrade because I found that to be the worst way to do it. I know some people find it the best way to do it, but not for me. What was that normally? 100? That's 4.2. Let's not do that. .04, stupidly small increase in gigahertz. Only 100 megahertz increase, which would in turn bring CPU. No, I said CPU. Come on, you can do it. CPU up to in turbo like 4.5 or 4.51 or something. Number of CPU cores enabled, hyperthreading enabled just to be sure, turbo boost enabled just to be sure. I don't know what COC is, or CRC. Filter PLL level, what is that? Not giving me any good info. Okay. Oh. Alright, so it's doing a performance clock of only 101 megahertz on the base clock, 4.04 gigahertz. Memory is what it should be at 2666. Come on, you can do it. 2626. Oh, no. No, come on. 2666. Okay then, whatever. It's running slightly overclocked, but the case has really good airflow, so it should be okay. Save. Let's get rid of 5 gigahertz extreme because I don't need it. So I have the CPU and memory speed in there. 4.04 and 2666. Exit, save and reset. If it doesn't boot, I will be disappointed. Yay. Little blue screen. Usually gets up to this point, then with blue screen if it's a bad overclock setup. However, it seems like we're okay as of right now. If I take out the board and put it back into this white case down here, would it go back to its 5 gigahertz awesome speed? And it's just the case, even though that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever? Will I try it? Probably not. Probably not worth the time. And I'm not noticing any speed increase actually. even with the base clock overclock, still not going too fast. It should already be booted up and ready to play games. And I don't think there was the AMD R9 290 in there, because I believe it was like that with the GTX 760 that I have in the i5 build I have going on. That's actually completed now. I need to do a report video on that. I don't know how much space I have left on the phone, so I'm just gonna open up CPU-Z and see. The results are in, and it's still running at 800 megahertz. Well, because of the base clock increase, it's now running at 807.5 megahertz, which is still nothing. All cores and threads are unlocked, and they're all being used, just they're being used extremely slowly. Why is this doing this? You know what? No. I've got an idea. Let's force it into something. If we don't do something, it's just going to stay like it is. Downloads Intel burn test. Let's try this. They already extracted it all. To make sure I'm not going too crazy, let's pull up core temp. And you will see it's also running at only 807 megahertz. And it's only at 0.738 volts. 7438 volts. It's got 16 gigabytes of 2666 megahertz RAM to play with. Maximum burn test, or very high. Very high only uses 4 gigs of memory. I shall pull up Task Manager as well. Now this has 16 gigs, let's use all of it. Start. CPU is thrown to maximum. It's now using some RAM. I think it will take a while to get to a threads. There's only 8 threads, so why is it doing all? Output results to results log. Start about stress level maximum available RAM. It's saying all that it can safely use. Do not use more memory. Okay, what? Do not use more memory than you have available. Whatever, go ahead. I don't know why I was doing that stupid thing, but whatever. Once again, thrown to 100%, both on core temp and CPU-Z are showing only 800 megahertz. This is on a fully clocked out thing. One thing I'm wondering is, did it switch to BIOS? What BIOS am I running? $800 still, using some more memory. And even with all that stress, only at 800 megahertz, it's only at 30 degrees Celsius. 32 on the hottest core if you want, well, 35 degrees on the hottest core if you want to be specific. Load 100%. Because it's not getting hot, the fans are not even going past low speed, which is 500 RPM. I don't have any games on here to test it while it's doing this to see if I can force it into more powerful modes. But it seems that even if I up the turbo multiplier, it's not going into turbo speed. Saying that made me realize one thing, one very critical thing. I'm going to keep Intel burn test running. Actually, no, stop, because this is a CPU update thing. Close, well, not close, minimize all of them. I know that the new Haswell CPUs are losing support for Turbo Boost. But still, it's in the name, 4.4 gigahertz. So, C97X SoC Force. Support and downloads. Driver. Yeah, driver. 764. Intel VGA. No. Device manager. Yep, it's already got that installed. I don't trust that. Where's a direct link? There we go. Nope. Desktop boards, graphics, no. Network program, all I'm doing now is looking for a download for it. Automatically start in 5 seconds. And there it is. 2 minutes left, really? Don't lie to me. It's on a slow server. Okay, so what I've gone ahead and done is get the frequency back to normal. Auto, 4 gigahertz. And I hate this AMD-esque menu thing. And what I've done is I've pretty much disabled all of the power saving technologies. So it's either going to be running full speed or nothing. Still not getting me what that is, or it only gives me that. Save and exit, say profiles, and this is now 4 gigahertz with and for no power saving stuff. Save and reset. I've also gone ahead and thrown on the Intel Turbo Boost meter that downloaded, and I installed it, but it made no difference while it was up and running there. And it's not booting up now? Come on, you can do it. All I did was force you to use more power. You can do it. There we go. So far, no difference. Opening up the front cover won't do anything, but let's hope for the best. And it's now at this screen. And still taking a long time. Come on, focus this stupid thing. So this has gone through a forced overclock, a forced base overclock, reinstall of the Intel Turbo technology, and now a force full power thing. I'm being forced to use the extreme power settings meant for very high overclocks when you use liquid nitrogen to cool this. CPU Z will be the first thing to come up. From what I'm seeing, it's making either no difference or a little bit of difference. CPU readings seem to be what they should be now, though. 0 to 5%. That's a good sign. There we are. Game speed 0.736 volts, 800 megahertz. All power saving settings are off. This is either maximum speed or maximum crap. What's going on? You can look for yourself. 800 megahertz. And it even says right there what it's supposed to run at, 4 gigahertz. Showing all the cache sizes as correct. Showing everything as correct. I don't know why it's doing this. There's the turbo meter. It's finally popped up showing the very, very low speed and stuff. Doing pretty much nothing. I got one thing more I can try. Try using a different GPU. I don't know why that would affect anything. But maybe it's the GPU is faulty. That one would not explain power delivery to the CPU though, because it's CPU, not GPU. They're using completely different cables for power and different sockets for power. Is that it? Probably not, but you know, I've run out of options. If you know anything, please let me know, because this is for sale. And if it sells and the guy is like, why is it only running at 800 megahertz? Have you rigged this? I don't know. Maybe I have. Bye.